right? And he's like becoming more and more important figure. He does really good. He was a very good negotiator. So every time like there was like some hard stuff to negotiate, they would send him. This is how he advanced in the ranks. Like, who was he? Some Georgian from Dorey? Like, are you kidding me? Like, all of a sudden, he became a very important figure. So then something very interesting happens. Like, this is what I like when we talk about communism, I always ask people, which communists? What era? It was all very different. And that's where they're like kind of something does like, you know, they get so confused about it. What do you mean? Like communists? Okay, which ones? Because they were all different. Communism in Russia was all different according to who was in charge of them, right? So Lenin and Trotsky, both of them were traitors. They were bought and paid by globalists. That's why Russians hate Trotsky. By the way, his last name was not Trotsky. He was Bronstein. He was a Jewish descent. He bought the last name Trotsky to assimilate with, you know, the Slavic names and Poland and Russia and all that. In reality, he was Jewish. So was Lenin. So both of them come in. They have Western money to conduct the revolution. They killed the Tsar. Do you know which Tsar they killed?
Nicholas
II. Yes. So
Anastasia might have lived.
No, she didn't. She didn't, unfortunately. Do you know how they did it? Like, it was so heartbreaking.
They killed him in a basement. They fucking mowed him down.
Yeah, it was so heartbreaking. Yeah. And this is
and they were related to the British royal family.
Oh, yes. See, like, it's very rare that someone knows that. Yeah, like they were cousins and they completely abandoned the king.
Abandoned him.
Like, yeah, I think they were in on it. That's why. So there was no reason to decline him and not accept the Russian royal family in England for, you know, safe house. Like the reason they declined him is because Nicholas started saying shit like, we need we need disarmament. We need world peace. That's him. Like, he believed in Renaissance and all that stuff. And you have this ginormous country like Russia with all these resources. You have a leader that's pro-peace and pro-prosperity and Renaissance and all that. And he's like, are you crazy? And they killed the guy and brought the Bolshevik Revolution. And how we know, again, that it was funded by the Western elites, because there was a Red Cross mission going on. Which, again, you can pull up a Red Cross mission if you can find it. Sutton details this in his book. Who was in this Red Cross mission? Why did it happen?
Wait, can you explain the Red Cross mission?
Right, yeah. So they said they needed... people have to understand the Bolsheviks were not that powerful force in the beginning, okay?
Hey guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It's a huge, huge help. Thank you.
No one cared for them. Like, they tried, multiple times to conduct a revolution. They failed. They could not conduct a revolution. And turns out they needed more money. So then Red Cross mission happens in Russia. And the Red Cross was like, when they suggested a mission, Red Cross was like, wait, we don't need a mission in Russia. Like, why are we doing this again? And if you look at who participated in that Red Cross mission, like, it's all either lawyers, like financiers, bankers, and what they were trying to do is use Red Cross mission to funnel shitloads of money for the Bolsheviks so they could finish the revolution. That's what it was about.
None of this part surprises me.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, they brought communism on Russia and then they lost the control. Exact same scenario like we always do. So, you know, when they lost the control, when Stalin came in power. So Lenin and Trotsky till today is considered as a traitor in Russia. Ask yourself why. Why is he a traitor? Why not why not Stalin? Why not others? Why is Trotsky a traitor? Because he worked for the globalists. That's why. He came from New York, killed their Tsar, gave bunch of gold, by the way. What did communists do? Remember all this Russian gold that was shipped to Europe? Like, why? What, they didn't want money? It's stupid, right? So what happened is Lenin's last words are, anybody but Stalin. Why? See, that's where history goes like completely haywire, right? So anybody but Stalin. Why?
Because he wasn't in on their scheme.
Exactly. Yeah. He was a random dude from Georgia who had his own devils in the head, and he was not part of this one world order shit. And he looked at it, and I think I know exactly, like, I studied Stalin really well. And I had all the right documents for it because I'm from Georgia. I can read Russian, I can read Georgian, you know what I mean? So, like, I think I know exactly when Stalin learned that this communism, like he really believed in it, right? He himself. And you can actually determine the time period when he learns what this shit is about. And he realizes that, wait a second, Trotsky and Lenin, they are bought. Like they are literally these puppets of the globalists. And this might, like whatever is going on, it might not be real. So this is where he actively starts to kind of take the power, right? And he's like becoming more and more important figure. He does really good. He was a very good negotiator. So every time like there was like some hard stuff to negotiate, they would send him. This is how he advanced in the ranks. Like who was he? Some Georgian from Dorey? Like, are you kidding me? Like all of a sudden, he became a very important figure. And when he learned that this whole communism was not exactly what he thought, because again, this is why it's important to know a person's childhood. Entire poetry of his is about fairness, about like my country being oppressed. So all of a sudden, communists, what do they say? Everyone's what? Equal, even though that's not true, right? Like, but that was the message. So this young guy who leaves because he was upset because his first wife died and leaves the kid with his very religious, by the way, mom to raise. His name was Jacob, actually, not Jacob, but Jacob. And he moves to Russia, and all of this stuff that he always dreamed of, all of a sudden is presented to him as communism. Like communism can get you all this stuff, right? No royalty, no oppression, no nothing. And he ends up joining the Communist Party, but he ends up joining it because he believes in it. And then he learns that, hold on for a second, much bigger powers are at play here. And in my opinion, and this is my personal opinion, there's no way to prove it, is that he was not okay with this one world thing that was going on, right? Like he was like very patriotic, which he was. So I call Stalin's patriotism as a toxic patriotism, like because there is such a thing as toxic patriotism.
For sure.
Right? When you allow everything and everything is acceptable for your country to thrive. Like not everything is acceptable, right? So when you kind of cross every red line to protect your country, that was Stalin. And he was patriotic at first to Georgia and then to Russia, right? As like Soviet states, so Soviet Republic. So when he learned that, what did Stalin do exactly? Like when he came in power, what did he do? He started killing who? Imprisoning and then killing who? The same Bolsheviks that conducted the revolution. Why? Why? Ask yourself.
Because we in the West, to your point, look at communism as one thing.
Exactly.
Which is the equivalent of being in the East and looking at Trump and Obama as the same exact person. It makes no sense.
Thank you.
They're
That's
just a part of the same system. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I've had so many people come up to me off camera in the past 6 months, it's making me like terrified. Just taking history and saying, oh, there's one thing wrong for it, therefore dump the whole thing out.
No.
That it's like it is actually bothering me. And I thought that's where you were going with him.
Oh,
I will agree with you. So I apologize for jumping on you.
No, you're good.
I will agree with you that the way that things are, what's the word I'm looking for? Homogenized all together is completely wrong. A lot of it is just propaganda, make it simple for people to digest. There are a lot of nuances here. So the way you just laid out that case is actually very fair in that it's not saying like, hey, these guys aren't evil and these guys aren't evil. No, they all suck, but like here's how it happened.
Exactly.
I understand that.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's what like is lost on history. And then what contributed to what you said, that every American's like head is filled with like communism is just one thing and so on, is the propaganda that followed of the globalist network against Stalin and all that, because now like two bad guys are fighting for the power, right? So he's a toxic patriot who's like in his head, well, what is this globalist shit going on here, right? Like, am I gonna get anything out of this? Like, is Russia gonna get anything? No. What Russia was supposed to do is got dismantled into parts, right? Like, how would you play Russia in this? Like, one world order, like where Russia fits? Nowhere, because it's super complex geopolitically. It has Muslims, it has Christians, it has multiple diversities, like when it gets to genome and cultures and how they understand themselves. This is why Chechnya is a bomb in Russia, right? And we're not going to go into it because that's a whole another episode. Like,
Chechnya is a what?
Bomb.
Is a bomb?
Bomb. Ready to explode.
Oh, okay.
Like, not anymore because Putin knew how to deal with it, but it was a bomb and it did explode, right? Like, when Chechen war, the whole thing happened, because it's a Muslim country inside Russia, with all these Christians and above that different cultures in it, right? So Putin dealt with it brilliantly. But again, it's still a threat, right? It's still very different from everything. It's almost like having, not to divert from subject real quick, but why are we so afraid of immigration? It's the same principle. Now you have Muslims in UK praying in entire streets, and UK people are coming out and saying like, whoa, what just happened here? What is going on? Well, guess what? That is a constant reality for Russians when it gets to Chechens, right? And Russia figured out how to make friends between Christians and Muslims in a way that both Chechen soldiers right now and Russian soldiers are fighting for Russia. They are not fighting for, Christianity or Muslim or whatever. They are fighting for their land, which is Russia. And they are equally putting everything they've got into it, right? And they somehow figured this out, that these differences are no longer quite that distinct anymore. That was, again, Putin. But before that, Chechnya was a huge problem. And so was many other different nationalities, including Georgia, by the way. We were part of Russia as well. So you're dealing with this complex Soviet Union entity. And how is it going to fit in your one world order? And Stalin could see that not only it's not going to fit, they're going to oust me, dismantle Russia, like what they did with Ukraine. By the way, Trotsky was the guy who was saying, you know what? Ukrainians have the right for self-determination. Like, this was way before, like, anything, right? That's where this talk started. And then all of a sudden, like, there was propaganda against Georgians too. Like, hey, you're this ancient country. Why are you okay with Russians, like being under Russians? You should have the ambitions to get out, right? What does that mean? You're dismantling Russia from the inside, right? Stalin could see that. And he was like, no, bro, this is not going to work, because that's going to result in me getting ousted as well. And all of this that I'm building here. So this is, I think, where the whole thing went down, like when the Lenins and Stalins, like, clash started, and Lenin didn't want Stalin to take over. He did it anyway. And then what did he do? Julian, do you remember? Like, there's a word in Georgian and Russian history, we call it intelligentsia. He started killing who? The elites. Why?
Because he thought they were in on it.
Thank you. That was it. So yeah, the entire history is told in such ugly way, when there's actual facts that you can, look at and tell it in the right way. Now, next thing about Stalin is Stalin's second hand was Beria. That was actually Georgian too. That was Beria gets no limelight whatsoever, even though he was the true psychopath of the regime. Okay, Beria was a psychopath. Like, he was. I think Stalin's motivation was toxic patriotism. He was right in many things that he did. He was wrong in many things, but Beria was a complete psychopath. So, and again, take the war. So World War II happens, and that's another weird thing that I could never understand. So who really won that war? You are educated enough to know this. Like, I can see in our conversation that you know the facts.
Meaning, who was most responsible for the war coming to an end? Russia threw the most bodies at it. There's no doubt about that. I think the way I've always looked at it is Russia threw the bodies, through the military. Britain through the intelligence and the United States through the push coming into it. I think
so
there was
would
there
it
was
be
all
fair?
three,
Would
but
it be fair to say that the biggest sacrifice was made on the Russian part?
by
Soviet.
mathematical numbers for
Yes.
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, like that's everything. Like what Russia didn't throw the intelligence part, or like they just left out on that? No, they did.
No,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
did.
yeah.
I'm saying who had the
Yeah.
most weight of like
Right.
pulling off crazy
Yes.
shit for each of those.
Exactly.
That's how I describe it. It
So-
doesn't mean all three didn't
Right.
play a role. The United States threw a lot of bodies at the problem too.
Actually, not comparable.
Not,
Let me explain
not
something.
to Russia, but they
Yeah.
hold on.
So-
Hold on. Let's not do this.
Okay.
Russia lost way more people. They lost fucking, I don't even remember the number. At Stalingrad alone, it was significant.
I'll
It was
tell you what the numbers
It was
are.
civilians. It was the
Yeah,
whole bit.
I'll tell you what the
But then
numbers
to
are.
not they say, therefore, oh, the United States lost like 1 million people. Who
No,
cares?
not
It's
million.
Still,
It's actually very, very
whatever,
simple.
whatever it was. Let's pull it up.
I can tell you 27 million. I can tell you 27 million on Russian part,
I
200,000 on
understand-
the US part. I can break this down
What
for
were
you,
the
right?
what were the United States
200,000.
deaths in World
200,000.
War II? You might be right. But that's what I'm saying. When we start getting in the game of like discrediting all of it, 407,000, which I'll call that close enough for the
Yes.
same thing.
So exactly,
Like-
27 million,
Like,
right?
But that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yes, Russia threw significantly more bodies at the problem, but
Right.
yeah, like we still took losses too. Just like I don't think
Yeah,
I
but-
don't think it's acceptable to say like, oh, just 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust.
I
Well, how
agree.
about the
I
3
agree.
million Poles? How
Yeah,
about the
I
fucking
agree.
million
Exactly.
Romanis?
That's what I'm saying.
That's how
But
I look at it.
exactly. I also like, yeah. So again, but we remember how we started this podcast compared to what, right? So would it be fair if we were in the same deal right now and let's say I got everything and you got only 10% and then like a very simple thing. Let's say we invented something and I came up with 70% of it and you came up with the rest and you came out and said, well, I'm the winner. Like how? I'm the inventor. No, I'm the inventor. You're the helper. Right? So that's how it is. Now you have to, this is what like people don't understand. It does matter. It matters because when Russians woke up one day, there was no man walking in the street anymore. 27 million they've lost. And what's even worse is that when this war is going on, guess what the elites in the US are doing? Funding Hitler. Yes. And there's, again, this is a fact.
When the war was going on.
Yes, when the war was going on,
We
they were
know
actively...
about before the war.
No,
But when the
hold
war
up.
was going on,
I'll tell
explain
you
that.
even, do you want even shocking thing?
Hit
When
me
the
with it.
US got into war, they continued funding Hitler.
How so?
Union Bank, if we had like your
Joe will
person-
be
yeah.
back in a minute. I'll pull it
So
up.
Union Bank, look up Union Bank and Bush, Prescott Bush. They continued funding Hitler, and the FBI had to actually the government issued seized the assets of the bank
Oh, wait,
under
yes,
enemy
yes,
of the
yes,
yeah.
yes. I know about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So now think about this for a second. So for the Russians at Soviet Union, who gave up 27 million men, and then there is this propaganda somehow equalizing the effort here, whether it's Brits, who, by the way, Churchill says, it's his words, I can't quote exact quote, but he said something like, let the Russians do the groundwork, let them do the war. Like, okay. So we did do the war, right? Like meaning Georgia, Russia, and all these people. My great grandfather died in that war. So like I said, it's not the same. I'm sorry, but it's not the same. If anyone really fought that war, was Soviet Union, and they lost everything for it. Everything for it. Yes, Britain helped. Yes, Allied forces helped. U.S. elites, not the U.S. people. By the way, U.S. people were the most honorable in this war, not the elites. Elites funded Hitler up until the very end, until the bank had to, the government had to seize their assets. Like, what is that exactly? What kind of, you know what I mean?
Thank you guys for watching the episode. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and smash that like button on the video. They're both a huge, huge help. And if you would like to follow me on Instagram and X, those links are in my description below.